This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute professional medical advice. Please consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare specialist before starting any new vitamins or supplements mentioned in this video. Use of this information is at your own risk. Go stand in front of a mirror. Do not just glance, really look. Look at the way your clothes hang off your shoulders. Look at your thighs, once solid and dependable, now seemingly hollowing out. Look at your grip as you hold the mirror. Is it as firm as it was 5 years ago? What you are seeing is not just the passage of time. It is a biological emergency that the modern world has taught you to accept as normal. The medical term is sarcopenia, but for you, it is the slow, agonizing theft of your freedom. Welcome to ElderFit Nutrition. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. There is a terrifying reality that almost no one in the fitness industry wants to admit to you. After the age of 60, the rules of the game change entirely. You have been told for decades that if you want to stay strong, you just need to eat more protein and move a little more. But look at the people around you. Look at the millions of seniors who follow that advice and still find themselves struggling to get out of a deep sofa or losing their balance on a simple curb. They are following a script that was written for 30-year-olds. In your 60s, your body begins to develop what we call anabolic resistance. This means your muscles have become stone deaf to the signals of growth. You can consume all the expensive steaks and whey protein in the world, but if the signal doesn't reach the cell, that protein is just expensive waste. Your body is essentially in a state of civil war. It has decided that maintaining muscle is too expensive in terms of energy, so it begins to dismantle your quadriceps and your glutes to fuel other processes. This isn't just about looking good at the beach. This is about the terrifying moment you realize you can no longer lift your own grandchild or carry your own groceries. This muscle decay is a negative spiral. As you lose muscle, you move less. As you move less, you lose more muscle. Before you know it, your world shrinks to the size of your living room. The industry wants you to believe that a $60 tub of flavored powder is the answer, but they are selling you a Band-Aid for a severed limb. They ignore the fact that your biological machinery is rusted shut. If you don't learn how to oil that machinery and restart the engine of protein synthesis, you are simply watching your independence evaporate in real time. We are here to change that narrative. We are going to look past the marketing lies and deep into the cellular reality of what it takes to stay powerful after 60. This journey is about more than just biology. It is about reclaiming the person you used to be. If you find this information vital and want to ensure we can keep bringing these deep dive biological truths to light, please subscribe to ElderFit Nutrition. Your support is the only reason we can continue to fight against the misinformation that plagues the senior community. Now, before we move into the specific biological loopholes that are causing this muscle evaporation, I want you to take a moment of deep reflection. Please think about your current physical state and answer this in the comments below. If you had to choose right now, which scares you more? A, the loss of your physical independence and needing someone to help you walk. B, the realization that you've been following the wrong health advice for years while your body decayed. Please comment A or B below. Your honesty helps us tailor this mission to your needs. To stop the decay, you must first understand the mechanics of the collapse. Muscle loss after 60 isn't a single event. It is a failure of 5 distinct biological systems that once kept you vibrant. The first and perhaps most sinister loophole is the rise of a protein called myostatin. Think of myostatin as the governor on a car engine. Its sole job is to stop your muscles from growing too large. In your youth, this governor is set at a reasonable level. But after age 60, for reasons science is still untangling, the myostatin levels in your blood can skyrocket. It is as if your body has slammed on the brakes while you are trying to push the accelerator. No matter how hard you train or how much you eat, this internal stop signal prevents any new muscle fibers from forming. You aren't lazy, you are biologically inhibited. The second loophole is the aforementioned anabolic resistance, but we must look at it deeper. At the cellular level, your muscle cells are covered in receptors that are supposed to catch amino acids and insulin to trigger growth. As we age, these receptors become scarred and unresponsive. It is a form of cellular deafness. Even when your blood is flooded with the building blocks of muscle, the construction crew inside your cells never receives the order to start building. This is why standard nutritional advice fails the elderly. It assumes the receptors are listening when they have actually gone silent. The third failure happens within the mitochondria, the power plants of your cells. In a healthy adult, mitochondria produce energy with very little waste. But after decades of oxidative stress, these power plants begin to leak. They produce high levels of reactive oxygen species that damage the very muscle fibers they are supposed to power. This mitochondrial decay leads to a shriveling effect. The muscle fibers don't just get smaller, they lose their quality, replaced by fat and fibrous tissue in a process that makes the muscle look marbled like a cheap cut of beef. The fourth loophole is a state called inflammaging. This is a chronic, low-grade systemic inflammation that simmers in your body like a slow-burning fire. This inflammation sends constant signals to your immune system to break down tissues. In your 20s, inflammation was a tool for repair. After 60, it becomes a weapon of destruction, slowly melting away your muscle tissue to feed a hungry, overactive inflammatory response. You aren't just losing muscle, you are being dissolved from the inside out by your own immune system. Finally, we face the collapse of the microvascular network. Your muscles are serviced by a vast web of tiny capillaries that deliver oxygen and clear out metabolic trash. As you age, this web begins to thin. The roads to your muscles are being closed down. Even if you have the best nutrients in your system, they simply cannot reach the target. The muscle fibers in the center of your legs become biological deserts, starved of the oxygen and nutrients required to maintain their mass. These 5 failures, myostatin dominance, receptor deafness, mitochondrial leakage, chronic inflammaging, and vascular collapse, are the true enemies. To win, we cannot just eat more. We must strategically target each of these 5 loopholes to force the body back into a state of growth. To overcome the 5 biological failures of aging, we must stop looking at food as mere calories and start seeing it as a series of molecular keys designed to unlock the gates of cellular growth. The first and most vital key is the whole egg, specifically the golden yolk. While the world told you to fear cholesterol, they robbed you of the highest concentration of leucine available in nature. Leucine is the only amino acid capable of shouting loud enough to be heard by the mTOR pathway, the master regulator of protein synthesis. In a body suffering from anabolic resistance, a single egg is a signal fire in the dark, forcing the muscle cell to finally pay attention and begin the hard work of rebuilding. This is followed closely by the deep-sea power of salmon and other oily fish. After 60, your muscle cell membranes become rigid and scarred, making it nearly impossible for nutrients to enter. The specific omega-3 phospholipids found in these fish act as a biological lubricant, softening the cell's outer shell and allowing the construction crew to pass through the gates once again, while simultaneously dousing the fires of inflammaging that threaten to melt your strength away. To bridge the dangerous gap of the night, we turn to plain Greek yogurt. As you sleep, your body often enters a predatory state, breaking down its own muscle tissue to find the energy it needs to keep your heart beating. The slow-digesting casein protein in Greek yogurt creates a steady 7-hour drip of amino acids into your bloodstream, acting as a protective barrier that prevents your body from eating your hard-earned leg muscles while you rest. For the collapsed vascular network, we find salvation in the deep greens of spinach. Rich in natural nitrates, spinach acts as a vasodilator, forcing open the narrowed, rusted roads that lead to your muscle fibers. It ensures that the oxygen and the leucine you've consumed actually reach their destination rather than being stuck in traffic. Finally, we incorporate extra virgin olive oil, not just as a fat, but as a medicine. Its unique compound, oleocanthal, functions like a natural sniper, specifically targeting and shutting down the inflammatory enzymes that trigger muscle wasting. By integrating these 5 foods, you aren't just eating. You are conducting a biological symphony, systematically silencing the signals of decay and replacing them with a thunderous command to grow, stay strong, and remain independent. Now that we have identified the molecular keys, we must understand that the order and timing of their use are just as critical as the foods themselves. To truly reverse the evaporation of your muscles, you must follow a precise 7-day protocol that respects your body's altered circadian rhythms. The most dangerous moment for a senior's muscle mass is the first hour after waking. Your body has been in a catabolic state for 8 hours, and every minute you delay your first dose of leucine, you are losing more of your foundation. Breaking your fast with 2 whole eggs is not a choice. It is a clinical intervention. This morning ritual slams the off, switch on muscle breakdown, and resets your protein synthesis for the day. This must be followed by a midday meal focused on vascular dilation. Consuming your spinach and olive oil during lunch ensures that your circulatory system is wide open during the hours you are most active, allowing every step you take to act as a stimulus for growth rather than a cause of wear and tear. As evening approaches, the focus shifts from activation to structural repair. A dinner centered on oily fish provides the essential fats needed to rebuild the cellular membranes that were stressed during the day. However, the true secret weapon of this protocol occurs 30 minutes before you hit the pillow. This is the moment for your Greek yogurt. By placing this slow-release protein at the very end of your day, you create a nutritional bridge that spans the long hours of darkness. Without this bridge, your body will inevitably turn to its own tissues for fuel by 3 a.m. In just 7 days of following this rhythmic cycle, you are doing more than just feeding yourself. You are retraining your cells to expect growth instead of decay. You are providing a consistent, unwavering signal to your DNA that the season of wasting is over. This protocol is a commitment to your future self, a promise that 7 days from now, your legs will feel more grounded, your grip will feel more certain, and the mirror will no longer be a source of silent dread. You have the tools and the schedule. The only thing left is to begin. Before we part ways, I must ask you to perform one final silent diagnostic that no blood test or medical scan can capture as accurately as the chair beneath you. This is the moment of truth. Find a firm, armless chair and sit with your feet flat on the floor. Cross your arms tightly over your chest, ensuring you cannot use your hands to cheat or push off. Now attempt to stand up to a full upright position and sit back down 5 times as fast as you can. If you find yourself wobbling, if your breath hitches, or if you feel a desperate need to reach out for support, listen to that sensation. It is the sound of a red alert echoing through your nervous system. In the clinical world, this is a marker of longevity, but in your world, it is the boundary line between a life of adventure and a life of confinement. If you struggle with this simple movement, your muscles are not just tired. They are failing to support the weight of your existence. This is your final warning. The atrophy you see in the mirror is not a cosmetic flaw. It is the slow closing of a door. Every day you ignore the biological loopholes we've discussed, that door shuts a little tighter. You are standing at a crossroads where one path leads to the quiet, painful surrender of your mobility, and the other leads back to the strength you thought was gone forever. The egg, the spinach, the olive oil. These are not just groceries. They are the tools you will use to pry that door back open. The journey we have taken today, from the mirror to the cellular level of your muscles, is ultimately a story about the sanctity of your independence. We often treat our bodies like a permanent inheritance, something we own by right rather than by lease. But as we cross the threshold of 60, the terms of that lease change. The body stops giving and starts demanding. It demands precision, it demands respect, and most importantly, it demands a departure from the lazy habits of the past. Reclaiming your muscle mass is an act of defiance against a society that tells you it is time to slow down and fade away. It is an assertion that your story is far from over. When you choose to follow this protocol, you are doing more than just fixing a plumbing problem in your cells. You are honoring the decades of life you have already lived by ensuring the decades ahead are lived on your own terms. You are choosing to be the person who can still walk through a park, who can still lift a suitcase, and who can still stand tall without a hand to hold. Strength is the only currency that matters in the final third of life, and it is a currency you must mint for yourself every single morning in your kitchen. The profound lesson to be drawn from this is that your physical body is the ultimate reflection of your internal discipline. True self-love is not found in comfort or indulgence. It is found in the rigorous maintenance of the vessel that allows you to experience the world. To apply this to your life today, do not wait for a perfect Monday to begin. Start with your very next meal. Choose one of the 5 foods we discussed and consume it with the full consciousness that you are feeding a dying flame back to life. Audit your kitchen, remove the inflammatory triggers that have been poisoning your receptors, and replace them with the molecular keys of growth. Make the chair test a weekly ritual of accountability. Let the data from your own limbs guide your choices rather than the marketing on a supplement bottle. Your strength is not a relic of the past. It is a potential of your present, waiting for the right signal to emerge. I would love to hear from you as we build this community of strength together. Please take a moment to perform the chair test I described and answer this simple question in the comments below. Were you able to stand up 5 times without using your hands for support? Just a simple yes or no in the comments will help everyone see they are not alone in this journey. If you found this guide valuable and want to empower yourself with more deep, research-based strategies for your health, please subscribe to EldraFit Nutrition. Your support allows us to continue bringing these vital truths to light and helps us grow together into a stronger, more independent future.